Hello, everybody. This is Jesse here with Ron for another great edition of Ask Ron. How are you doing today, Ron?
Outstanding.
That is great to hear. We've
Down here in
got
this
good
beautiful
questions.
Florida weather. Eat your heart out, snowbirds.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow's even some beach weather. Sorry. All right. So our first question for this week is from Shafiq from Minnesota.
Okay.
This question is in reference to the trust agreement.
Okay.
Why are there notary stamps all over this agreement if
Mhm.
it doesn't get recorded or seen by anyone ever?
Well, there's no notary stamps on it. There's a place to put a notary, but it's not required. It doesn't hurt anything, in case there's ever any issue, whether this is a real deal or not, a notary would help. But frankly, I've never gotten any of mine notarized.
Got it. Thank you for that. So the next one is from Katrina from Nevada. She's got two questions. First one, when you are purchasing a pretty house using a purchase and sales agreement,
Mhm.
and the title will ultimately be taken in the name of the land trust,
Mhm.
who is the buyer on the purchase and sales agreement?
Well, I either use just my LLC because I can add as trustee on it when we're closing, or sometimes I just use an LLC as trustee. And I do it either way.
Got it. So our second question is, if a land contract owns the property that you are leasing to a tenant buyer,
Mhm.
whose name goes on the land contract as the
Okay.
lessor?
All right, you mean land trust, not land contract. Land contracts don't own properties. Land trusts do. And if you sign a lease, let's say ABC LLC as trustee is the trustee. Well, that's the same way the lease should be created as well. ABC LLC as trustee is the lessor on the lease.
Very good, thank you.
Mhm.
This next one, it's actually four different people asked the same question.
Huh.
So Isabel from California, Doris from Texas, Angela from South Carolina, and Reginald from Maryland.
Okay.
They're all looking for a good closing attorney in their area. And if you don't have one that you can recommend, how would you advise them to find one?
How many times have we answered this question, do you think, Jesse?
You.
All right, well, first of all, go on my website and see if one of them happened to have been trained by me. There's 6 of them on there that have, and it doesn't matter if they're in your city. It only matters if they're in your state because they're licensed in that particular state. And everything's done electronically anyway. So 2 people don't get to meet in the same room anymore. The easiest way to find an attorney is ask other investors that are using attorneys. And if that's not the case, you just go on Google and Google real estate closing attorney, and here'll come a list of them. And you're just going to have to pick up the phone and call their assistant and tell them very simply, listen, I'm looking for a real estate closing attorney that can close owner finance deals and lease options on the exit. Does your firm do that? And if you get a resounding yes, you found your attorney most likely. But then you need to establish a price, because some of these attorneys, if it's a real estate closing attorney and that's what they do the most of, they probably won't gig you. But I hear rumors of people wanting $2,000 to close a real estate transaction. Okay, if you hear that, don't walk, run in the other direction, because that is a ridiculous price to charge. You shouldn't pay more than $500 or $600, $1,000 tops to get a real estate closing attorney to close any real estate deal on any single family house.
Very
Okay.
good. That was a good answer for them. Hopefully they're able to find these. So the next question is from Phil in Ohio.
Mhm.
It says, I have read in the Wall Street Journal that various well-financed hedge funds and corporations are purchasing homes and then renting them out.
Mhm.
What is the strategy of these large-scale purchasers, and are they competing with little guys like me for the same houses?
Well, the answer is their strategy is they use other people's money and they buy houses with the intent of renting them out. And 4, 5, 6 years later, when the market is good, selling them off. They get a single-digit rate of return while they own them, which is why they will pay more than most. But very rarely will they buy houses that need renovated, because they want them already renovated. And they'll pay a lot more than you will pay for that house. But remember, it's already renovated. So anyway, their motive is not the same as yours. There's plenty of deals out there, even if they've been buying them for as long as I can remember, for crying out loud, almost as long as I've been in this industry. These hedge funds are buying houses, but I don't think I've ever run across any of them that competed with me.
Very good. So he continues on and says, well, he is in the Cincinnati area. And he
Mhm.
says, I know a company named American Homes for Rent is leasing out numerous homes in that region. Are you familiar with them?
No, why would I be familiar with them? But here's the deal. Ignore them, forget about them, and quit worrying about competition. Nobody's going to be doing what you're doing, when you're doing it, how you're doing it, and why you're doing it. Just get out there and generate leads and follow up on them, and don't even think about anybody else that's in the business. What you're trying to do is talk yourself out of doing anything, and it looks to me like you're very close to being successful at it, which will get you absolutely nothing. I'm sorry to be so brutal, but it's the absolute truth. It don't matter what anybody else is doing at any time. I never worry about competition. I always make them worry about me. Do the same. Go out there and generate some leads and do what your training tells you to do. And if you haven't been trained, you better get trained, or you're not going to get anywhere anyway. Get to my quick start school. I got a virtual one coming up this month. What are we in, February? Yes, this month. And I got a live one coming up in Jacksonville in March. If you go to one, you can come to both if you want. Get trained. If you do not get trained, frankly, your chances of success are diminished extremely. Well, not diminished, they're diminished very, very greatly. So put that on your agenda, and by the time you get out of that, then you won't care less what your competition is doing.
That's right.
That was mean, wasn't it, Jesse? Huh?
Oh, no, that's brutally honest.
Well, that's me.
That is very true. It's good, though. It's good for people,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So Deanna from Colorado,
Mhm.
she says, I am the personal representative for the estate of my father and the registered agent for the 21 LLCs for each of his properties. 18 of them occupied rentals.
Mhm.
The estate is the sole owner of the LLC. If the LLC sells the properties into land trust, and then the ownership of the LLCs are split between my sister and myself in the probate process,
Mhm.
can I do owner financing where my sister gets paid every month and keep the properties in the land trust?
Well, the answer is yes, but you're making it way too complicated, and I don't want you to do anything until you get good legal advice from a estate planning and asset protection attorney firm. Go to them and make sure when you find one, make an appointment, make a list of every single thing that you own and that you inherited from your parents. Take it to them. Take time to write out all your questions before you go. And don't try to do this in an hour. This is going to take days for you to think of all your questions. Now, when you go to your appointment, you tell them what you got, you ask your questions, and then they'll give you advice based on that. So good input, good output, but do not try to handle this on your own. You need professional and legal help to clean up this mess and make sure going forward that you've done it correctly, and it'll keep the alligators from coming across your moat and attacking your empire. And honestly, if you don't have a good team, we've got an attorney, Bob Bloom in Texas, that can help you out here on this. This is what he specializes in. Bob Bloom, I don't have his number here, but it's BLUHM, and he's in Dallas. So look him up and tell him I sent you, and that you want to talk about asset protection and estate planning stuff, and they'll do a virtual meeting with you, and then you guys can decide what to do from there. Okay, but don't try this on your own. Any more?
We have one more from
Okay.
Hector Massachusetts.
All right, Hector.
All right, here it goes. Would paying a seller's mortgage by way of direct deposit be a bad idea?
Yeah, well, meaning you're electronically transferring money into the lender's bank account. That would not be a bad idea if you can get it set up. That's probably a little complicated, but it is the fastest and easiest way to do it, of course. but just make sure that when you pay the lender, that they know what house it applies to, which means the loan number and the seller's name, whether it's a wire or whatever it is, or your payment is going to go into lost payment heaven, never to be found again, and not applied. And then everybody will wonder why the payments have been late, because they don't know where to apply it. So obviously electronic transfer is the easiest. We do a lot of that, but that's requires a setup. And plus you're paying a bank on a loan that is not yours. And I'm not sure what kind of a problem that's going to create. All right, that it, Jesse?
That's it. Hector was the last one, and that was a great answer for him. Thank you.
Good questions. Okay, guys, here we are at the beginning of a year. Let's get out there and take advantage of it. And we got a, make a note now, we got a free summit coming up in April, a big one. And we're going to give away a brand new old car. Literally, we were buying a classic car just to give away for this event. You'll be told about that shortly, and I'll send pictures of it in the whole works. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And on the 10th and 11th of this month now, I'm taping a whole new terms course, and you can get on it absolutely free. So make sure that you register for that. If you haven't already, get a hold of our office. It's a 2-day terms course. And literally, I'm recreating the existing terms course. So, and with that, that's it. I will talk to you soon. See you next week.
All right. Thank you, Ron. We'll see you all next week.
Okay, bye-bye.